Recording. Hey everyone, thanks for joining me live. I am Erica Bates and I am here with Tracy Kawa. Did I say it right?
Yeah,
Right.
cowabunga. Cowabunga without the bunga.
Oh, so I brought Tracy here today because if you don't know, May is Small Business Awareness Month, and I think Tracy is someone who can help us move forward in our small business. So, Tracy, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
So far, so good. I'm excited because I took the KBAT assessment. I
Yeah.
got really good feelings about it. I hope I can implement everything I've learned, and I got to talk to you about my results. And I want you to tell everyone how you got started with the KBAT.
Oh my goodness. I was in marketing for so many years, and then I went back to school to add some skills. And what happened was, as I was working, I realized that I needed a common entry point. I'm very good with working in a process. So I needed that entry point that would help me meet every client where they were at. And no sooner did I say I needed some kind of assessment that would help me to help my clients, then all of a sudden a tool fell in my lap and I said, "Oh my God, I love this tool, but it's created for an entirely different industry. I need to work with whatever brilliant mind created this tool. I need to take this and make it into a coaching tool." And that's exactly what we did. And we've been helping people, supporting people with it ever since.
I like that. So, how long were you in marketing?
Oh gosh. I would say that I was in marketing for about 30 years.
Wow.
Yeah. Um, Unofficially and officially. Sometimes you're helping someone build a business and you don't even realize, like, hey, you're doing marketing. And then later on in life, you're like, no, I'm a marketer. And you find out that you're really good at something specific. So I was really good at marketing and PR, helped to grow a very successful orthodontic practice, and then just kind of took those skills outside of that office so that I could help build community and build businesses beyond that.
I got to be a part of your community for a little bit on what was it, Tuesday? I thought
Yes.
that was very nice, and I really do appreciate you having me there. Um, how did you this sorry, words are jumbled right now. How did you know that you wanted to combine what you do with this community? How did that all get started?
That's really interesting because when I first redeveloped this tool, I knew right away that as a single individual, I could only impact a certain amount of people with it. So I always knew that I needed to develop a community of coaches and consultants, whether they were business coaches, life coaches, whatever, whichever type of coach they were, career coaches. I always knew that I needed more than just me to have the impact that I want to have. And what happened was, there are a lot of great tools already on the market and everything was status quo. But so what I did was I actually just proved that my process works. I worked with, many, like hundreds of career transitioners for quite a number of years. And then when COVID hit, a lot of people became career coaches and independent coaches. And I said, this is a perfect time for me to go back to my original business model, which was to train coaches on how to use that tool. And that is exactly what I do today. So it's just on my part to pivot back to what I wanted to do. And I found that, even at my heyday, I could only work with 3 individuals a week using KBAT. And at the end, not a week, I'm sorry, 3 individuals a day. And at the end of the day, my voice was hoarse. So at the most, I could only impact 15 professionals a week, if that. So replicating myself was so crucial to being able to have the impact and share the tool with as many professionals as possible. because I think that every person who is a professional in business today definitely needs to see what's in their blind spot, and they need the information that's in that tool.
I like that. So how did you know that you wanted to work with business coaches, or do you work with everyone?
I really work with everyone. A lot of what I have to do, a lot of my work has to do with careers, right? Like taking your career to the next level, career planning, career path planning, even for individuals who work within a corporation, they still need to have a vision for themselves, where they're going to go in their careers. Where do you see yourself in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years from now? Before you retire, what what do you want your title to have been right when you're about to retire? What is that last title that you will be so proud to hold? Right? And for entrepreneurs, how are you going to build your business? How are you going to scale your business? What is the team you need around you in order to succeed? Um, I'm sorry, I got so caught up in that. Reframe the question for me. Reframe the question for me again.
You were doing really well. The question was, how did you know that I thought you were working with business coaches, and I asked, or could you work with everyone?
Thank you. It must be that early Alzheimer's setting. No, I'm kidding. God forbid, right? So this tool, regardless, right? The reason why I was saying all of those different types of roles, because I feel like as long as you are working in the workplace, you need this tool. It will support. Okay, I'm going to even back it up before that. Here is my philosophy on everything. When we are fulfilled in our careers, then we lead happier lives at home. If somebody's happy and fulfilled and they feel content and fulfilled, they feel like they have direction, they feel like they have clarity, when they feel like they have purpose, when individuals feel like they're in their calling, they're happier. They come home happier. They don't feel like abusing their children and their dogs and their, families, right? They're happier. And I think because of that, it doesn't necessarily matter if somebody's a career coach or a business coach or a life coach, because there is an element of that work to everything that we do. And I'll give you another example. So somebody might say to me, well, what about a stay-at-home parent who, a stay-at-home caregiver who isn't in the work world? Well, guess what? Guess how many caregivers I have worked with who were re-entering the market after they were caregivers. Either their children got older and they didn't need to be stay-at-home parents anymore, or maybe they were helping, unfortunately, an elderly parent who then passed away. So it goes from life coaching right into helping them step back into the marketplace. Everything goes hand in hand. And again, it's my philosophy that when we step fully into our calling, step into, our God-given reason for being here, that's our calling. When we understand our purpose, then we are more fulfilled, not only in our professional lives, but that also seeps into our personal lives.
I like that. So I got this saying, once we know what we want from ourselves, we'll know what we want to ask for from others. And it was suggested to me by the Jason Hodge that I take this. Yeah, it's the Jason Hodge. You gotta say it just like that.
Right, absolutely. And for those who don't know who Jason Hodge is, he's just an incredible human being. He is the CEO of Mastering Your Media. He's all about repurposing your content, because people feel like they have to create content, every single day. But a lot of times you already have the content in what you've already produced. So he's just a master at that. Thus, the Jason Hodge, Mastering Your Media. Okay, sorry. Yeah.
We got to shout him out
You
because
got
that's how we met. So when I took the assessment, I learned a lot about myself, stuff that I was very surprised about. That whole leadership and dependability. I can't even say it now.
ability.
I'm glad your English, your spoken English is way better than
Yeah, no,
mine.
you know what? Your leadership was off the charts. So it's really interesting because I always talk about this, that we all don't lead with leadership and vision, right? When we think, oh, leadership, yeah, I have the big vision. No, no, that's not what leadership is. Leadership is taking the skills that you have genuinely, the skills that that you love using, the skills that you make the most impact with, and using those skills wisely. That's leadership. And then helping other leaders develop, drawing out their talents. That's leadership development at its finest, right? So you were so high in leadership itself, where I once had a client, the first thing he said to me after taking KBAT was, Tracy, I'm so disappointed. I said, why? He said, because I thought I would come up higher as a leader. I said, wait a second. Didn't you tell me that in order to be successful in this field, your brother came to you and said, in order to be successful, we're going to have to own our own company. And he said, yes. And I said, and weren't you the one who rounded up all of those team members and organized everyone so that they would all invest in the business? And you guys started your path on owning your company. He said, yes. I said, well, that is how you lead. You lead with your management and your executive function skills, because an idea is just an idea if it's left on the table. But to round up all the players and to execute the idea, that is the highest use of your management skills and your executive functions. So
Yeah.
that's just an example of how we don't all lead with leadership, but you lead with leadership, Erica. You literally lead, like you are literally a visionary. And there was no denying that. And it's not me saying it, and not, it's not like somebody's mom saying, oh, you're the best. You're so smart. You're a leader. It's not that. It's literally the combination of 7 different sciences that combine into this algorithm that the results produce that you are a leader and a visionary. Very cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Shocked and surprised still, but I'll take it.
It's
I
awesome.
really like that. Um, it really stood out to me because I didn't think of myself as that. I believe in cause and effect.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in, it's not if you are a woman, if you are a woman of color, it's for me, it's all, can you do the job you said you could do? When it comes
Right.
time for you to do the job you said you could do, are you actually going to do it? So that is cause and effect for me. So if you tell me you're going to do something, you got to do it. If I tell you I'm going to do something, I have to do it. So I was shocked with the leadership and with, I'm going to try my best to say it, dependability.
You go. That's right. Dependability. And I just want to point out something about that, because I really want our listeners to know what we're talking about. We have about 45, 50 values that stack up like the kids' game Jenga sitting right here on my shelf. So if you see all of these little blocks, imagine if each one had a written value on it. That's the way our values stack up. And it's through the KBAT that we can identify what our top 7 driving values are. And the reason why that's important is because I have had so many people come to me, as a career coach, as a consultant, and say to me, I'm so frustrated at work. Okay, what does that mean? We need to unpack the word frustrated, because it always boils down, it always funnels down to a value that's misaligned. So in your particular situation, since you already shared, in your particular situation, your pain point, so to speak, your value conflict was dependability. When
Yeah.
you say you're going to do something, you do it. And, it's important to align ourselves with people who also believe that, especially in business, because that's how businesses run. We depend on each other, right? If there's no gas at the gas station because somebody decided they don't want to work, I'm not going to fill up my tank with gas that day, right? If Zoom or StreamYard or LinkedIn or whatever decides that it's going to go down, then we're not going to get our business done the way we wanted to do it that day. So it's all about dependability. And what I learned early on is it's important to have systems that you can rely on. And it's important to have individuals on your team who value, remember the values, the top 7 values, who value similar things that we value, and that we can buy into those values of each other. And you and I, Erica, may not have the same exact values or the same number 1 value, but if I know what your values are and you know what my values are, then we can at least communicate in an effective way and get each other to, buy into the different ideas or influence each other in positive directions, and have vital conversations that matter, that impact the production and the productivity and the bottom line profits.
Yeah. It wasn't on the assessment, but one of my, I assume, I know I'm not supposed to assume, but I do it anyway. I assume that I want to win. I love winning. If you tell me your goals, we're going to make this list. We're going to check them all off. Therefore, we win. And winning is like a relief because we've done everything that we said we're going to do. We know we can compare to what we need to do and have your goals. So when we can check that off and we're producing an event, we have won.
Nice. I love that. You, if I remember correctly, you came up super high as someone who wants to impact others and in achievement, like results, getting it done, getting it completed. Like you said, checking it off the list. Yay, right? Checking it off the list. Yes.
Mhm.
And that makes total sense to me from the way you just described it, because those both came up very, very high for you. And it's not about you. You're so service oriented in a beautiful way, right? You're very much like, how can I help you? How can I support you? Even on our initial calls, you were like, what else can I do for you? And I'm like, wait, what can I do for you? Right? Like, 2 very service oriented people having a conversation, but it's a beautiful thing, because when you want to service, then you're talking about impact, and the more people you impact, the more successful they are. And ultimately, the more successful we are.
It's not that I just wanted to give to you. You've met me, a total stranger, on a reference from the Jason Hodge, and you gave to me immediately. I
Yeah.
had to give something back because you were so generous, not only with your time, your knowledge, you just gave to me right away, very generously. So I was
You're
like,
gonna make me
I
cry.
need to match your energy.
You're gonna make me cry. I love pouring into people, literally. I I think I always see the best in people. I try to always see the best in people. I think that everyone has a purpose here. I think that God put us on this planet because we each have a purpose and a calling. And I think it's our job to uncover that. Recently I heard a phrase where somebody said something about, oh, chasing purpose, or we should be chasing purpose, or are you chasing your purpose? And I'm like, no, no, it doesn't work like that. We're like onions. Our purpose is within. We have to uncover, or at least our calling. We have to peel back the layers and uncover our calling. And then once we understand our calling, then we can put our purpose into action and take steps to align ourselves with our calling. But I don't get the vision of somebody running down chasing this big ball, and written on the ball is purpose, right? That's not what it's about. It's about revealing why we're here. And that's something that's God-given, and that's within us. Yeah.
It's amazing. I am speechless now.
Uh, yeah.
But, but
I just want to say, I love what you do. I love how you support people by helping them create platforms and events and getting all of their content out there, because you really have to understand their businesses to a large degree in order to help them move the ball forward when it comes to their summits, their events, their LinkedIn lives, their engagement with the public. It's pretty impressive.
thank you. I appreciate that. It's amazing. So what you do now with the community and the assessment, I it's my personal opinion that you do more than just those two things. And I'm on the outside looking in, but just the giving alone by itself, amazing. But having a community of other people, like, how'd you find all those people who's so willing to give?
Yeah.
Also amazing.
Yeah. Like attracts like. I mean, just the way we came together, right? Jason Hodge is an amazing connector. I know we keep mentioning his name, but he's an amazing connector. And when he introduces me to someone, it's sight unseen that this person and I are going to connect because he knows who I am at my core. Put it this way, he knows who to introduce me to and who not to introduce me to. And I'm the same way. I know who to introduce to Jason and who not to. Right? It's kind of like the cloth that you're cut from.
Nice. So I want to be a linchpin like Jason. We have a mastermind group that we're in together, and I think it's filled with brilliant people. And I always tell them, I want to be surrounded by brilliant people because we're the average of the people we're around the most. So why not?
Yes. I love that.
I was gonna say again, I think that stuff like that is amazing for me to be able to, how you say, be cut from the same cloth and have people be able to see you. Like when I took the assessment, the KBAT, yes, it was an automated survey, but I felt like it could see me. And I'm like, how could it see me?
Yeah. That's a great question, right? It did. It saw you because it was created based on 30 years of behavioral science. It was created with 7 different sciences. I mean, everything from values work and research from Stanford University and Harvard Business School and emotional intelligence and strength finders. Imagine all of that delicious science combined into a simple 32 questions. I always tell people that that's what we're working with. And the algorithm behind the scenes is brilliant. And it was put together brilliantly. And it sees you. It sees the individual, it sees their values, it sees where their values are not aligned. It sees where how you're defining something that's not quite happening right now. It's a brilliant tool. It truly is a brilliant tool. And it did see you. We all saw you.
I like that. So not only did I like that the assessment could see me, do you do it for everyone? Do you bring them into your group to talk about their assessment? Because I thought that was cool and amazing.
Well, when you say everyone, so there are other coaches that we always offer the KBAT to, excuse me, that we offer the KBAT to. And usually for coaches and consultants, we'll offer it at the wholesale price so they can experience it. And then if it's up to them, if they determine that this is a tool that they want to add to their toolkit, then great. And we have trainings that we offer so that people can, again, help their clients the way that they've been supported with the tool.
I like
Yeah.
that. So me as a virtual event producer, me working with SaaS companies, if I took the training, I could work with the SaaS companies to tell them how they could better be a tech company, a better service, software as a service provider to their audience. And together we could make better virtual events.
Right. So it's more like this. I'm just going to reframe that a little bit. It's
Okay.
more like if when you took the KBAT, there were things that you realized about yourself, these incredible strengths, these incredible gifts, the people who you need to be surrounded by in business. When you bring the tool to a company, an organization, then the people in that organization get to realize what makes them amazing and how phenomenal they are and what their gifts are and what their weaknesses are and who they need to have on their team in order to succeed. So it's basically helping a business grow by helping their people grow. It's a very people-oriented tool. It helps people understand each other. It's such a great tool. I've worked with organizations that are restructuring within to help people find the right seat on the bus. I've worked with companies that were being taken over by venture capitalists, and sometimes they bring in their own people and sometimes they keep some people. And it's important to find the right mix of the people that are going to make this organization most successful. We went into a small recruitment company and administered the tool to 20 people at that organization. And we found that the young woman who was answering the phones was the person who had the highest marketing skills. So we had to reformulate how that was going to work, because that would have been a waste of a whole skill set. And sometimes that you find that you have people who don't share the company values. And isn't it better to know as quickly as possible when somebody doesn't share your company values, rather than to quietly quit? I hate that term, but still, rather than to kind of pull back from completing, whatever tasks, or I think they say quiet quitting is basically just doing X amount, but not going further. Personally, I want to work with people who are so excited about what I'm doing that they are willing to go above and beyond for the cause. And I think I think all companies, like, that's the point that we want all companies to get to. Are they all like that? No, right? When people see that a company is just about the bottom line and not about the people, that's when the difficulties arise. That's when the people stop championing for the company. That's when you don't have raving fans walking around talking about the company. I like to be that company that people are walking around talking about. I like to, when I've worked, I like to work for and with companies that people are walking around talking about. And it takes an enlightened leader to recognize when to bring in a tool that's going to make the team more cohesive. It takes an enlightened leader to recognize that.
I like that. Sometimes, actually a lot of times, I have trouble seeing myself, but I can work with others because I can see them just fine. And I think the KBAC assessment really helped me with that. Could you tell me about a time where you worked with a company and you just had the absolute best time working with them? Was it the one with the lady answering the phone who turned out to be a great marketer?
That was awesome. I've worked with organizations where the management, like the middle managers, were misunderstood, right? The middle manager might have had one set of values, but the team, some of the team members had a different set of values, and there was a clash. And I remember this one time where I was almost late to the party. The situation had already gotten up to HR. And then I was invited in, which was fine, right? But I was able to sit the two people down and explain, well, he communicates this way, and this is what's important to him. And when he said XYZ, what he meant was ABC, but you see the way you could have interpreted that as XYZ because you see the world through this lens, right? This is your filter. And this is what's important to you. But guess what? Now that you know that about each other, you can communicate and get on the same page. That type of conversation makes my heart sing. That type of conversation, I think ever since I was a kid, and I'm just realizing this now as we're talking, that ever since I was a kid, even in grade school, I would hear the two people who were arguing, and I would try to bring them together and try to help explain both sides. Of course, when I was a kid, I didn't have those mediation skills, and most of the time, both of them ended up angry at me. But I guess I was more of a peacemaker ever since childhood. And who knows, maybe that comes from having two parents who were constantly fighting and then finally got divorced by the age of 5 for me, right? So I think that's probably where my early childhood peacemaking skills come from. And then as I got older, to be able to have a tool where, you're not really rehashing an argument per se, you're talking about the way to talk, the way to communicate. What drives this person is not going to be the same that drives this person. However, when we understand what drives each of them, we can bring them together. We can have them meet in the middle because now they know how to speak each other's language.
That makes sense. Uh, I can't help but think that company had to be a good company to bring you in. I'm here in the South, and they just would have let the lower of the totem pole go if they were already in HR. They wouldn't have
Yeah,
brought anybody in to reconciliate
it's a
the
great company.
yeah.
Yeah. The one where that happened, it's an amazing, amazing company. And again, you have to have an enlightened leader who's going to bring in a coach with a tool like the KBAT. You have to have an enlightened leader, somebody who knows that something's got to change. It's got to change quickly. We've got to have a way to understand each other. And we have good people here. We just need to help them understand each other.
Can the KVET help me find good companies to work with through the values?
I think it's more, yes, number one, it's yes through the values. And number two, it's through understanding the size of company. That's an ideal company for you to work with. So it's not that it will say, oh, General Motors is the company you should. It's not like that. But what it will do is it will tell you the size of a company, the culture of a company, the value of a company that would be a best fit for you. And going back to, I know we spoke about Jason a bit, but I've been, really sharing this lately because he shares this. When I first started working with him, he had just fired a client. And he was still kind of replaying it in his head, in his brain, going over, what happened. After he took KBAT, he realized that was not a client that shared any of his values. So it is really important to align with a company that shares your values, as well as a company that's the right size and culture for an individual coach or consultant. And I think that that is definitely something that resides in the blind spot of most coaches and consultants
I understand.
and
Um,
can be illuminated with KBAD.
I only asked because on my assessment, I got forgot the name of the company. It's like you would be best served to work with a company like this. So I was like,
Yes,
maybe I can do a search on it and I can find more companies like this to reach out to. That's why I
right.
asked. Mm.
That is such a great, I don't want to say assumption because you're not really assuming you had the data in front of you, but it's
I assume
true.
a lot.
What's that?
I assume a lot. I know I'm
Well,
not supposed to. It's just a really bad
no,
habit.
no, that's actually it's actually great math, like putting two and two together, right? 2 + 2 = 4. That's actually great math. Because what happens is when you have the data in your report, then it will tell you the type of company that is an ideal fit for you. So if you remember on our call, I had mentioned, and I know it was like drinking from a fire hose. There was a lot of information. However, it was all vital information. And one of the things that I did mention was that it would be a great idea for you to go and look at the website of the company, research the job descriptions from that company, because that will clue you into the culture of a company that's a good fit for you to work with. So then you can extrapolate from that what you understand about that company and then find companies within the size that is recommended for you that have that feel, that sound to it, that type of culture to it. There's something else I'd like to point out because I think this is a perfect time to point it out. I have worked with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of career transitioners. what I have found is that at first they'll come to me and they've thrown out 180 resumes in all various places. They're applying to everything, anything and everything that seems like it could be a fit to them. Once they take the KBAT, they get laser focused. They understand exactly what they're looking for. They understand exactly where they belong in the workplace. And they usually find, not every time, but they usually find their role rather quickly after that. And some of them even become consultants because they realize, oh my goodness, I have all of the subject matter expertise. I can work with companies of this size and this culture. So it's really been a blessing for me to have found a tool like this and been able to redevelop it, and to have had the opportunity to work with so many professionals from so many walks of life. Even to the point that I have been assessing my own children with the tool ever since middle school. And my son is in the process of starting his second business. So I know the impact of the tool. I know what people can do when they really get themselves, when they really understand their strengths, when they really understand their own values that drive them. And when they get to see their own growth. Oh, I have a great quote. My favorite quote was from Orison Swett Marden. He started out in life as an orphan, and he ended up founding Success Magazine. And his quote is, "We lift ourselves with our thought. We climb upon our vision of ourselves." Now, the reason that resonates with me so much is because when professionals start out, they see themselves here. Even the most accomplished professionals see themselves here. But once they take the KBAT, they lift themselves with their thought and they climb upon their highest vision of themselves. And there becomes the starting point up here. It just elevates them from here to here. But this is their starting point. So now they're building, instead of building from here, they're building from here and starting. And they go so much further, so much more quickly.
I believe that because I totally got and oh, I hate to say it, but I'm going to say it out loud anyway. I got an ego boost from learning about the
Well,
leadership and the
yeah.
dependability. So yeah, I think that's absolutely true because
And you know what?
if
I think it's underselling it even. I think it's understating it to say it's an ego boost, because let me tell you what happens with an ego boost. That's I don't know if it's like dopamine, which is like a fast, short ego boost, and all of a sudden, like, we're on this high. But if you notice, when you take the assessment, that high doesn't wear off. That now it becomes a knowing, which is ingrained in us. Like, I know that wasn't my ego. I know I'm a business builder. I know I'm a, dependability for you, or I'm, I like to help people and achieve. Like, it becomes a knowing. So I think it's totally understating it even to say it's an ego boost, because it's not. It's okay to see our greatness. It's okay. I'm giving everyone in the workforce permission to see your greatness.
I'm going to need that to be a t-shirt. It's okay to see your greatness.
It's okay to see your greatness.
Maybe even some mugs and some wristbands so you can always be reminded.
I love
Even
it.
set on your phone as an alarm.
You're good. You are good. Yes. I see that you're great for your clients. Yeah, right? That's great. I like it.
Yeah.
It's okay.
But now we got to put out some quotes that says, it's okay to see your greatness, Casey Kawa. So you can have like even journals that say that. Like, how have
Amazing.
you seen your greatness today?
I had a
How do you-
journal that said assess for success. Assess for success. I love that phrase because I think every single one of us needs to assess for success, because that's the way we're going to see our greatness.
I believe that, now that I've taken the assessment. So yeah. So
Awesome.
I had there's another quote. I don't remember who said it, but it says knowledge is power. And I've never believed that because I've only believed that applied knowledge is power. Like, how are you going to use the knowledge that you have? Because for me, cause and effect, if you know something, hopefully you're going to do something. And when you
Right.
do something and you do it right, it's going to give you the result that you said you set out to get. So yeah, applied knowledge is power.
I love that. I agree with you. Applied knowledge. And I think I'll tell you something else. Even at its most basic, right? Even like I've seen, we've all of the coaches in the community have seen incredible transformations with individuals who take the assessment. However, at the very least, individuals have said to me, it confirmed what I thought about myself. And that's the difference between knowledge is power and applied knowledge is power. Because a lot of times, even those individuals weren't applying everything that they thought they knew about themselves. But once it was confirmed, once it was validated, they started to apply what they knew about themselves. So I love that applied knowledge is power.
Not only that, when I took the assessment, I've always had trouble asking for help. I realized through the values, like I know it's way more than that. I got like 11 pages, but the values really stood out to me. It helped me determine I can make my standard operating procedures from it. I know who to hire from it. And I feel like if I follow my values, if I hire fellow virtual event producers who are willing to win, I feel like I can have a great company.
I love that. Absolutely. And you will have a great company. And it is a great company with a great leader, knowing that and empowering those around them. Amazing. Can we talk about my book
Yeah,
for a minute? I would
yes.
love to share. So this was my latest book. It's called Faith, Hope, and Options: A Mid-Career Transitioner's Bible. And let me tell you why I wrote this. Because when I did that pivot during COVID, and I knew I was going to be stepping out of career coaching a little bit more and stepping more fully into training other coaches and consultants, I didn't want the music to die in me. I'm a big believer of getting that subject matter expertise out of our brains and onto paper, whether we put it in a book, or if we put it in a course or a training, or if we put it in, blogs or however we package it. It's about getting that subject matter expertise out of our brains. And for me, it was about helping that mid-career transitioner, not as much starting out, the career people starting out, although we work with plenty of people starting out, but the people who were having some of the most severe pain points were those mid-career transitioners. And I would say there were two groups between 35 to 45, the younger, more ambitious, and then from 45 to about 55, 60. And they're looking for their next or last chapter of greatness, and they want to go out, and they might even want to go out with more purpose, right? They might even say, listen, I've accomplished XYZ. Now I'm looking for even more meaning in my life. So that was the reason why I wrote Faith, Hope, and Options: A Mid-Career Transitioner's Bible. It's available on Amazon and Kindle. Thank you.
Thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah.
So with the KBAT, the assessment, and your community, um, is there anything else that you're doing that's about to happen that we should know about? What else can you tell us about yourself that we can look forward to?
Well, I am working on my third book now. Um, and it has to do with wisdom. It's more of a guiding book for generations to come, and kind of to get people to stop and think even more so, and see within and see without and question more, maybe not take things so much at face value. So I'm working on my third book, Wisdom. And we've launched our second community of coaches and consultants with the KBAT. The second community is actually through Paul Kirch and Boss Academy. So for anyone who doesn't know what that is, please connect with Paul and check that out. Um, yeah, we have a lot of really good things on the horizon. Just, looking to share more with organizations and really share more with middle managers. Because one of the things that I truly enjoy and that I find is a very intense area that I can have a lot of impact in, and that I've had a lot of impact in, is with middle managers. And I'm going to tell you why. Middle managers have to manage their team members here. And then they have to really manage, and when I say manage, I'm talking about manage, coach, right? So they have to manage and coach their team members here. Then they have to manage and coach their other managers. They also have to manage up. They have to manage up. And with the KBAT and being a communications expert and a subject matter expert in this area and on emotional intelligence, then this next phase for me is going to have a lot to do with middle management and managing up. And you could really change organizations with the way you coach others and the way you bring ideas to the table. A lot of people have phenomenal ideas, and it's planting the right seed with the right words to the right person at the right time. So you're going to see a lot more of that from me, and a couple of other health related things. I just became a strategic partner with a company that is actually in the healthcare space. So you're going to see me talking a lot about that product as well, because I like to align with things that I truly wholeheartedly believe in. And that's what you're going to see next.
Would you happen to work with startups or I know you work with small businesses. Do you work with small businesses to build their teams also?
Absolutely. We work with small businesses to help the business owners and the management understand where the gaps are on their teams and understand the really important, the critical people who are missing from the team in order to take that business to the next level. And I do work with startups. I work with solopreneurs. I work with people who are just launching. I work with teams that are launching. Yeah, even though I wrote the book on the mid-career transitioner, that is just something I had, in-depth knowledge in. But as I pivot to work with these other demographics that I also love working with and that I also create an impact with, as I pivot from that, I needed to get the contents out of my head. However, I love working with startups. I love working with solopreneurs because quite often solopreneurs feel like they're in it alone, and
Yeah.
you're not alone. Once you take KBAT, you realize what your role is, and you
Mhm.
realize where you are in relation to the other people on your team and in relation to who you need on your team. So understanding, and I think you said it earlier, like understanding yourself is key to understanding who you need to have on your team and understanding what those next action steps are. And once you get in your zone of purpose, you create the space for other people to enter into your world, enter into your business, and then create their roles with intention. But it's all about understanding ourselves first, and then what we're missing, who we need on the team, who we need on the bus, and manifesting those people, drawing them into our world. Because once we recognize what we need, then God has a way of helping those people to show up in our world.
Yeah, I believe that. How long do you work with teams to get everything together? Is there a timeline?
Well, it depends. It's really what each person, what each team needs, what each person needs. It can go from a one-time workshop, and the pieces fall into place because everybody just needed a little boost, to several months. It can be ongoing. I have one of my clients, a small software company in the auto industry, they bring me back in yearly just to, because as they grow, you have different pain points, right? As they grow, there are different shifts with their personnel, different people are put in different places, um, different pain points arise. There are growing pains. So bringing the tool back in and reassessing, reevaluating really helps to uh, for those pain points to go much more smoothly, much more smooth. Yeah. And even individuals, Erica, I highly recommend, and I do this myself. I reassess myself every 3 to 6 months, or when there's a growing pain that I can't quite place my finger on. So it's very important, even for us, to continue growing, continue developing every 3 to 6 months, absolutely every 6 months. So twice a year, but sometimes quarterly, depending on what's happening.
See that. So far, my takeaways are I can use the KBAT assessment to learn more about myself, find my values, find similar companies that I can either model or go after, and
Absolutely.
use it to build my team, my standard operating procedures. Did I leave anything out?
Yeah, and even to communicate, right? To build stronger teams, to help team members understand each other, and to help manage up, down, and sideways.
Okay, I like that. Well, Tracy, tell us your favorite social media platform so we can find you.
Oh, you know it. It's LinkedIn. I can't
Love
help it.
LinkedIn.
Sorry, Facebook and Insta. I'm on YouTube, but I love me some LinkedIn. I love my LinkedIn.
Yeah,
I just feel like it's a very professional platform. And that's what I like about it. It's classy, it's professional. Love LinkedIn. Yeah.
yeah, same here. Well, um, where can we find the KVAT assessment?
So you can go to my website, which is tracykawa.com, TracyKawa.com. And kind of midway down, before you get to the coaches in the community, there's an area that says take the KBAT. So you can find it right there. You'll click on the link and it'll take you right through the process. And once that's processed, you receive the link within 24 hours to take the KBAT, and then it comes with a seat in the hot seat or one-on-one. But usually people, take the hot seat because you get to have a team of incredible, insightful coaches. Coaches like Charlie Timmons, Tony Calabrese, Stephanie Lee, and so many others, Jason Davis, Jason Hodge. You get to have a team of insightful, Angela Owens, Carolyn Thompson, a team of insightful coaches that weigh in on your assessment, asking brilliant, brilliant questions. Some are business coaches, some are career coaches. Just imagine a collection of coaches and consultants that are there to service you and read through your profile results and get you going in an amazing, incredible direction.
All right. Well, for all of you listening, we got a few homework steps. First, we're going to check out Amazon for faith, hope, and what was the last
Option,
one?
option.
Option. We're going to check for Tracy's book. Then we're going to go to Tracy's website and we're going to take the KBAT. We're also going to go to LinkedIn to connect with Tracy. So everybody's got their homework assignments.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And reach out with any questions.
Yes. Well, Tracy, I want to say thank you for your time today. I really appreciate you coming here and letting us know more about you, because I think that assessment, the KBAC assessment, is it's going to be great for a lot of people, especially if you're an event producer.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Erica, thank you for having me on your show. You're a wonderful interviewer. I'm so happy that we did this, and just thank you for your support. And I look forward to supporting you and Talk Virtual.
Thank you. Oh, see you next time, Tracy.
Bye.